I finally had my hands on my daughter's killer, but it was her voice that told me to stop. The letter came on a Tuesday. Thick, cream-colored paper from the state parole board, sealed with an official-looking crest that meant nothing to me. It said that Mateo Reyes, the man who wrapped his Ford Taurus around an oak tree with my children in it, was being considered for early release. Good behavior, it said. Remorse. Rehabilitation. I read the words, but they didn't register. All I could see was the oak tree on Sycamore Lane, its bark still scarred 3 years later. I drive past it sometimes, when I feel like punishing myself. My wife, Alina, found me an hour later, still standing in the kitchen, holding that piece of paper. The setting sun was casting long shadows across the floor, making the empty spaces in our house look even bigger. She didn't say anything. She just took the letter from my hand, read it, and her face went blank. It's the face she wears now, a mask molded from grief. We used to talk. Before. Now we just orbit each other in this mausoleum we call a home. Calliope's guitar gathers dust in the corner of the living room, its strings slack. She just learned the chords to her favorite song. Zora's half-finished castle of plastic bricks sits on the rug in her room, a monument to a princess who never came home. That night, something in me finally broke. Not in a loud, shattering way. It was a quiet snap. A wire pulled too tight for too long. I went down to the garage. The air was cold and smelled of gasoline and old grief. I found one of the ceramic paring knives Alina used to love. I smashed it on the concrete floor. One shard was perfect, long, white, and wickedly sharp. For the next 6 weeks, that shard became my rosary. I'd sit in the garage every night after Alina had taken her pills and drifted off, and I'd sharpen it on a whetstone. The rhythmic scrape, scrape, scrape was the only thing that made sense. It was a promise. The house grew colder. It started subtly. A scent in the hallway. The faint smell of Zora's strawberry shampoo, even though the bottle had been thrown out years ago. I'd stop, inhale, and for a second, I'd almost expect her to come running around the corner, pigtails flying. Then it would be gone, replaced by the scent of dust and decay. Then came the sound. I was in the den, staring at the TV without watching it, when I heard a single, perfect musical note. It came from upstairs, from the playroom. It sounded like it came from the little toy piano we bought Zora for her 7th birthday. I told myself it was the house settling. Old pipes. My mind playing tricks on me. But it happened again a few nights later. This time, 2 notes. A hesitant little melody. I never told Alina. What would I say? That our house was remembering our daughter for us. She was hanging on by a thread. This would have cut it. The day of the hearing arrived, gray and spitting rain. The room smelled of floor wax and cheap coffee. It was small, sterile, and suffocating. Reyes was there, sitting at a table with his public defender. He looked smaller, thinner. He was clean-shaven, his hair cut short. He looked like an accountant, not a monster. When he saw me and Alina walk in, he put his head in his hands and his shoulders began to shake. I felt nothing. The part of me that could feel pity died on Sycamore Lane. The ceramic shard was in my coat pocket, wrapped in a handkerchief, its sharp edge pressed against my knuckles, a constant reminder of my promise. He told his story. Abusive father, an addiction he couldn't control. He said our daughters' names, Calliope, Zora. Hearing them in his mouth was like swallowing glass. He talked about finding God, about the letters he writes to them every night, begging for forgiveness they can't give. He looked at the board, tears streaming down his face. I would trade my life for theirs in a second, he sobbed. Not a day goes by that I don't wish he'd taken me instead. Bullshit. Every last fucking rehearsed word of it. Then it was my turn. The victim impact statement. I'd written nothing down. My statement was in my pocket. I stood up, my legs stiff. I walked not to the podium, but towards his table. A guard took a half step forward, but I held up a hand. My face must have looked calm, broken, harmless. Reyes looked up at me, his eyes red and pleading. Calliope wanted to be an astronomer, I said, my voice hoarse. She had a star chart on her ceiling. She knew all the constellations. My hand went into my pocket. My fingers found the cold, hard edge of the ceramic. Zora, I started, and my voice cracked. Zora used to have nightmares. I'd sing to her, a stupid little song I made up. I was 2 feet from him now. I could smell his cheap soap. I could see the pulse beating in his neck. This was it. 3 years of breathing water, and this was the one gasp of air I'd get. My fingers tightened on the shard. I was going to lunge. I was going to carve my girl's names into his lying face. And then I heard it. Not in the room, inside my own skull, clear as a silver bell. A little girl's voice humming the first few bars of a lullaby. The sound was so pure, so present, it vibrated through my bones. A wave of impossible cold washed over me, freezing the rage in my veins. The strength vanished from my body. My hand went limp. The shard slipped from my fingers. It hit the linoleum floor with a sharp, pathetic clink. The sound broke the spell. Reyes flinched back. The guard shouted. Alina screamed my name. 2 more guards grabbed me, slamming me back from the table. Chaos. Shouting. My wife was crying, a raw, wounded sound. They didn't charge me. They just saw a grieving father who finally snapped. I saw the pity in their eyes as they escorted me out. Reyes's parole was denied, not because of what I said, but because of what I dropped. He stayed in his cage because my dead daughter wouldn't let me build my own. That night, I sat alone in the dark of Zora's room. Alina was asleep. Thanks to a doctor's prescription, the house was utterly silent. The air was heavy and so cold. I sat on the edge of her little bed, the plastic castle a dark shape on the floor. I don't know why I did it. I just needed to know. I whispered the first line of the song into the darkness. Stars are sleeping, moon is bright, a beat of silence. Then, from the deepest shadows in the corner, by the closet where her dresses still hang, a tiny voice whispered back, "Your eyes now, say goodnight." I froze, my blood turning to ice. I wasn't alone. I haven't been alone for weeks. My daughter is here. And I have no idea if she saved me from that man, or if she's just making sure I never, ever leave her again.